The possible link between the study of non-compliance and abuse of trade agreements within 6 months and the time frames set for the renegotiation of NAFTA was not clarified. There could be an idea that the latter would not begin until the study is concluded will into the anthem, the immediate establishment of the Office of Trade and Manufacturing Police, headed by the controversial Peter Navarro, previously I don't know for his anti-China animosity at the White House was also announced. This office will be mandated again in the president's words to defend American workers and companies from those who seek to steal our jobs and threaten our manufacturing base. Another important component of the anti-Mexican orientation of Trump's policies is found in the personal intervention of the then president-elect to suspend direct investments in Mexico by American companies or from third countries and to spare pressure so that they direct them to the United States and establish the jobs that derive from them. These actions by Trump were described by an official of the government of Nuevo León, Mexico, as typical of leader of countries that in the United States are often called banana republics. Trump boasted of his direct and personal interventions to change investment decisions abroad. The first and also the most publicized case, although not necessarily the most important, has been that of Carrier, a manufacturer of air conditioners, which after direct intervention by Trump offered to maintain around 1,100 jobs in Indianapolis and to which, without further publicity, the then governor of Indiana and vice president-elect offered that concessions for around $7 million. In the aforementioned speech on February 28, Trump boasted of his direct and personal interventions to modify the investment decisions abroad in Mexico. Above all of corporations that they did not hesitate to publish it. Ford, Fiat, Chrysler, General Motors, Sprint, Scotiabank, Lockheed, Intel, Walmart, and many others. According to him, they are going to invest in the United States thousands and billions of dollars and create tens of thousands of jobs. He did not specify any figures, as always. Hyperbole was enough for him. It is worth warning against the tendency favored by the passage of time to consider the Trump administration normal, if only to say, well, after all, it is the government that the Americans elected. It is not the case, and it should not be forgotten. A majority of voters, which exceeded by almost 3 million those who vote for Trump, vote for another candidate. It is not normal that Trump has not disclosed big a pre-candidate became a candidate became president elect and not being president and other various pretexts. His statement on ERS, it is not normal that there are inconclusive investigation into the interference of at least one foreign government in the cyber systems of the American political parties during the development of the electoral campaign. It is not normal for conflicts of interest to persist and for news to be rife about the private business dealing of people very close to the president withdraw the connections between those private interest and the public responsibilities of those official being defined and clarified. As long as Trump remains president, the notion that this is a tainted presidency will persist, and as Paul Krugman, the respected economist and 2008 Nobel Memorial Prize winner in economic science, called it, as long as their indices remain under threat and Trump remains president, the notion that this is a tainted presidency will persist. In closing, on Monday, March 13, the editorial director of the New York Times pointed out to his reader that in none of the 8 articles include in his Sunday review the previous day had the words Donald and Trump. Ampered Leonard. This was a response to the dominance that the president exercised over the American national conversation and a good part of the world conversation, one mean and which results in the exclusion of other important topics. After more than a year of increasing contamination of the Mexican conversation, we could from time to time follow the example, but not for long. I fear Trump is someone we must know and understand better in order to better counteract him and leave him begin. The article is recommended and continue. The United States-Mexico relations in the context of the USMCA agreement ratification. The impact of Trump's statement in his various reset incarnations, pre-candidate, candidate, president-elect, and acting president. Cannot be overstated, particularly where they refer to nuclear issues in Europe. They have a model made the nation of an eventual withdrawal of the US nuclear umbrella. Credible and led to nascent task of regular nuclear cooperation on military matters. A full review is provided by Fisher. Some of them have achievement success on a national scale, as in the case of Hungary, Poland, and to a certain extent Turkey, or are in the process of achieving it in France and Italy, which already experience its Trumpian era with Berlusconi, or are emerging options in Germany and the New Netherlands, to mention only European case. New development groups course group, as is now fundamentally the most radical options, did not prevail in Holland. Gert Willems manager, however, to shift the discourse of practically all the political forces so automatized to the right. He was defended, it is said, but they planted the seed of his future throne. Military spending for the Department of Defense it gives the largest increment 10% in sharp contrast to the proposed 31% cut to environmental spending by the Environmental Protection Agency. Military spending 574 billions will be 100 times greater than environmental spend 5.8 billions. Is there any dub- double da- doubt as to where Trump's priorities lie? Among the optimists is a well British magazine. There has been speculation that business animal spirits have been awakened by the election of Mr. Trump in November, and that tax and regulatory cuts and the subsequent return of around 1 trillion of untaxed funds held aboard by US-based companies will fuel a huge business investment boom. I am grateful to Fulvio Ruiz de Velasco for having provided me with access to the article that contains the concise and APT characterization of attacks that not a one seems to understand. For example, when speaking before the American Chamber Mexico, according to Statement 46 to the Ministry of Finance and Public Credits, the Secretary explained that the US government has proposed different possibilities such as the proposal to reduce the tax rate or create a border tax age with different implications and with a need for a response from Mexico and the rest of the countries in really is not one or the other. It is both things and sometimes more. The corporate income tax rate will be reduced from 35 to 200%. The tax base will not the profits obtained anywhere and imported into the United States but the flow of income obtained at the point of sale in that country territory, and the BTA, as already said, would tax imports and exempt exports according to board of one would expect when a revaluation effect of the dollar against other currencies, which some studies estimate between 15 and 25% in parallel with a faster rise that now expected for interest rates after the marginal increase on March 15. 6. The divisions have